Everyone, welcome back to Seaway Sports Lounge. Man, it's been a while. How's it going, Typhoon? How are you?
I'm good. Yes, it has been a while. We've had some busy times, so we've had to not been able to do anything for a bit.
Yes, today we decided to go ahead and make a quick episode. This is going to be kind of a roundup kind of episode. Quick update on what's happening throughout the sports world. News hasn't been super duper busy, but now things are starting to heat up. Of course, the NHL, baseball's ongoing push to the end, and now NFL's begun. And as you can see, now I'm wearing a jersey. I've decided to bring out my Aaron Rodgers jersey. So that's basically what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about we'll start up with some NHL news. We're going to go into a little bit of Jays. And then after that, we're going to pretty much focus most of this show on the NFL because it's week one.
And the season opener.
Yes, sir. And we're going to go over what we think about teams and recap the game that just played on Thursday and see what we might think about tomorrow's games. So let's start with that. Let's go with that.
Sounds good.
So what do you have? What do we have first?
I'll start with something nice and small and simple that everyone's heard. Kirby Dach is finally signed. A lot of people were worried about that because he hadn't been signed yet. They were wondering, how come our GM hasn't signed? But the reality is he had to make space for this guy. And unfortunately, Carey Price's news about his knee was the space they needed to make to that signature. Right. He was in a cap crunch because of our previous general manager, so it's not an easy job to work through. But I'm very excited with this management in general because I see direction and they're very transparent, and I like that.
Okay, Nick, what else?
So Doc got a 4-year deal with a 3.5 AAV. So,
damn, wow.
Yeah, so it's kind of an overpay for the first couple of years, but if St. Louis can make this guy the offensive guy he was drafted to be, it might be an underpay in 2 years. And then we also have him. I just found out as well that the way the contract works, because of Doc's previous injuries, he didn't play the X amount of games needed for an 18-year-old coming into the league. So after the 4 years, he's still an RFA with us for 1 more year.
Yeah, well, that's good. That all works out for you guys. I mean,
yeah.
Hey, any extra money control you can get on these guys is the best thing you can do.
Well, that's just it. If he doesn't pan out, we have him for an extra year, and I'm sure someone will take him for a deal if he doesn't pan out.
Well, I think Doc's in Montreal for a long time.
I do too. I really
see Montreal changing drastically anything. So
I saw a video actually from the when he was traded to the Habs. It shows Hughes call him and say, "We're very excited for you. You're going to be playing offense here, lots of offense." So I have a feeling there's a different direction already. Another news in Montreal: Jonathan Drouin is no longer number 92. Now that it's available, he's moving to number 27, back to his junior in Tampa number. If it helps, it helps.
Well, whatever. It's a number, right? And if he likes that number and if it's okay with Montreal, why not give it to him?
Some guys are very superstitious about their jersey numbers.
Oh, yeah, of course. Now, my question for you is, Drouin's been with Montreal for a while now. Is he ever going to improve, in your opinion, or is he going to stay the same?
This is it. If it doesn't happen now, he's done.
Yeah, because he's at the end of his deal, right?
This is year 5, and I'm hoping St. Louis can do something with it. I've seen what St. Louis can do with these guys, so I'm hoping it was just poor coaching. We were putting a pure offensive player into a defensive system. It doesn't work.
Now, where do you see him fitting in the lineup? Do you see him still on the second line, third line? Where do you think they're going to put him? Because I don't know if Slafkovsky's going to play or not. What do you think?
Well, first, I expect one more trade to happen for sure. Absolutely. Before the season starts. Because we have 17 forwards signed, 17 NHL contracts. Something's got to give.
Of course.
17 forward NHL contracts. That's what I meant to say.
That's a given. Montreal's going to make more moves. It's what they're going to do.
But I was reading one line was saying that there's a potential for Anderson, Drouin, and Dach. I think that would be a very good line.
Right.
I'm still wondering. Yeah, I've heard Slafkovsky with Caulfield and Suzuki. I've heard Dadonov with those two as well. There's so many line combinations, and plus the other thing is Montreal is, I'm sure some of these 1-year contract guys, they're trying to boost their value to move them for first round picks as well for the deadline. So you might see some guys that normally wouldn't play on certain lines getting more ice time just to boost their numbers, right? But I think he'll be top 9 for sure, top 9 somewhere.
Okay, well, that's fair. I mean, hey, I mean, he's got to, as far as I'm concerned, if he's going to be playing and he's getting paid that kind of money, he's got to be playing top 9. I mean, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's either let's like get it going or move on. Simple as
Yeah.
that. Like this guy, he's done nothing as far as I'm concerned. I had high hopes for him and is in as a player of the NHL in Montreal. I mean, I'm not a fan of Montreal, as we all know, but I'm just saying that from a team's perspective, this guy could have been a Mitch Marner or a Kane or anything like that. I mean, if this guy could have got going, but for whatever reason, he just can't get it going between injuries or just lack of desire to play. Or, I mean, that might be a bit harsh to say, but I just find it's a little much to say, like, we're going to continue to give you this big money and you're not giving the numbers that you promised. Now he's not getting 9 million, but still getting enough.
5.5 is still a 60-point player. It's supposed to be a 60-point player.
Yes, should be a 60-point player.
And I honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with the way management was, because everyone physically saw it. We moved away from the Bergevin era, and guys' scoring went right up.
Right.
Look at Caulfield. Caulfield looked atrocious under Ducharme.
Oh, Caulfield was, my opinion, was robbed of a possible Calder Trophy. I'm not saying he'd win it, but he had the chance to go for it. I wouldn't say
he ended up finishing top 3 in goals of rookies after what's St. Louis took over. That just shows you.
Right, but could he have passed Sider or not? Like,
I think so. I think he could have passed Zegras as well.
Zegras too, yeah. Well,
they're both very good.
It didn't happen, and I mean, it sucks for him. I mean, I felt that he could have gotten a better chance to prove it, but he didn't do it. I mean, he couldn't do it. So.
He definitely has potential to be a 40-goal scorer, absolutely.
Well, you want him to be a 40-goal scorer. I mean, you guys need it.
You see his shot, though. It's an elite shot. But you need to give him the proper surround. You can't put him with Cedric Paquette and expect him to score goals.
Montreal, again, we've said this in a number of episodes in the past. You're going to be in flux for a while, so it's a matter of the lines may not make sense next year, but that's what it's going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what about this Primeau deal I put up here? I put it on the banner here.
What's I actually like this deal a lot. When I read all the details about it, it's actually really good.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a 3-year one-way contract. Now,
so he's okay.
Now this year, it doesn't matter if it's one way because he hasn't accumulated enough NHL games up until this point. He can still be sent down without waivers.
That's lucky.
So to me, the 3-year deal means he's going to be up here next year, but this year he's got one more year to develop. And so to me, it's a make or break year for Mutombo.
Right, and I mean, Carey Price has been placed on LTIR for the year.
Forever, I think for the year. I think he's done.
Well, it looks like it anyway. It looks very likely that he's done, but it sucks for him, obviously. But I mean, he can't play. He can't play. Simple as that. Like, he'll get his money and he'll try to come back and he'll fail his medical, and that's it. So
really, Mutombo and Primeau have a very big year this year for both of them. Because Kevin Weeks also mentioned that he is hearing a lot of contract negotiations amongst the Habs and Allen for a long-term deal.
Yes, that's what you were mentioning earlier. That's why I put it up. So that you're saying that he's looking for any idea of what kind of numbers and term we're talking, or is it just talk?
It's talk, but if I were to say, just by judging how many games he can play and by his injury status and everything,
right?
If you're paying over 2.5, if you're paying over $3 million, it's too much. And we do have a few goalies in the pipeline that are supposed to be very good. One's in university, one's in Sweden, and the one in Sweden actually has been given some comparisons to Vasilevsky because of his size.
Yes.
So if it's when they said, they didn't say long term. Sorry, they said multi-year deal. So it could be long term. It couldn't. I think if he signs, it's a 2 or 3 year deal as a gap filler.
Right.
But his leadership is very good in that dressing room. Everybody likes the guy. He's very well liked.
And a rebuilding team, he'd be a good guy to have. I mean, the man's going to play enough games that he'll give you support.
And you need a goalie that actually has some experience and can help the young goalies. And yes, he's one of our few 30-year-olds, to be honest, after all the moves that Hughes has done.
Yes, he's going to be staying there for a while. In my opinion, I think he's.
I like him. I like him, but As a starter, I'm not sold on him because
Well,
he
he's
can't.
not being paid to sell. He's not going to be a starter.
Also, his body can't hold up. Every time he tries to be a starter, after 5-6 games, he's hurt.
He reminds me of Jonathan Bernier when he was in Toronto. It was the same
Yes.
thing. Bernier would get about maybe 5-6 games in. Either he'll get hurt or he gets worn right out, and he can't. He just couldn't play. Like he'd let in like he'd lose 2 games in a row and be shelled 6-0 or 5. Like, I mean, just shelled like 6-5 goals all the time. So he reminds me of him a little bit. But again, another Western goalie too,
yeah.
right? So
and see, the thing is, like, we need a goalie to play 50 games, and Allen knows that no other team can offer him 50 games right now.
Right.
Nobody, no one.
No.
Any other team, he's a 30-game max, but Montreal has no goalie. That's 50 games guaranteed.
Yes, well, Montreal will give him what he needs, and he'll get his playing time. But yeah, they're not going to play him 80 games. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are also in the market of trying to see what you have for your depth in your organization.
Absolutely, we're not.
Price on his way out. Yeah,
our step forward right now is to see what we have, and hopefully it develops a bit more. That's what the season's all about. It's not about
it's
being great. It's about seeing what the young kids have, and if they can take the next step.
And Toronto had the same thing. Whenever Matthews showed up, it was the same thing. But here was basically like a bye year. You just played. You got to see what they could do, and if they can win games, great. And if they don't, well, it's expected because they're a rebuilding team and they're all on really young players. So, like, having young teams. So,
I agree.
Honestly, it could be quite entertaining for Montreal if they could get it together. If these guys are what they think they are, right?
I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun watching this year. Whether we win games or not, I don't care. I want to see fun hockey again. Last year was not fun. It was painful. It was very painful.
It was the Peter Horacek years here for Toronto when they fired Carlisle and brought him in. Same thing, just massacre. It was.
I felt like the 2001 or 2003 Michel Therrien team that lost 13 in a row.
Oh my God! Yeah, never forget that. And then after that, Babcock tried to get everything he could out of the other team, and they did okay, but of course they just were miles away from the playoffs.
Well,
so anyway,
the thing is, I think the biggest issue with you guys was you overachieved because Babcock was such a good coach.
They should have.
There was a few seasons you maybe shouldn't have made the playoffs to get another good few picks.
Well,
but it didn't work. Yeah. It didn't happen. You got stuck in that no man's land area.
What we can do is then what we'll do is I'll flip it over now that we're going to switch over to Toronto for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring up some Leaf news. But yes, to finish the point, Toronto had some players from the Burke holdover years, like Riley was still there and he was still getting better. And they had some players like James Reimer and all that were still in Toronto for a short time.
He got a lot out of them too.
They got a lot. He milked as much hockey as he could out of those guys.
Bozak.
And he got but all of them, of that team, that 2014 year when he walked in the door and started, he got roughly 2014, 2015 there, whenever they started up. Anyway, they got everything they could out of them. And then Matthews and Marner and them all started to come in and play really well.
So, via trade, you guys got more asset for them because he boosted their numbers. He made them look better than they were.
Well, Lamoriello gutted the team there when he was there, and that trade deadline was crazy. 4 or 5 players at a time moving at once. It was insane. But it needed to be done. So
yes, you guys were too old.
Well, that team was finished, right?
Yes.
And so in Toronto news right now, it's pretty light in there right now. One of the biggest thing right now for our team is the Sandin. For whatever reason, Rasmus Sandin is still unsigned. The rumors have been pretty rampant of why, but for whatever reason, there's just no indication that he's going to be signed anytime soon. Now, personally, for me, I don't know if it's money or if he wants term or if there's just no room for him. I don't know. Toronto has a lot of right-handed shot guys now, especially with Giordano now coming in and signing that 2-year deal at $800K. They have a lot of guys on that side. Now, I'm not saying Sandin should go. I like Sandin. I mean, I really hope I want him to stay. I think he's going to stay. I just don't think they've gotten the money straightened out yet.
I had heard a comment that Dubas had said. I don't know if you had heard it. I kind of was left uneasy with it a bit because they had asked him about the Sandin not signing yet, and he had said, "Well, if he gets an offer sheet, if he doesn't, If he gets an offer sheet, it'll be great because we can get this over with quickly and make a decision.
I haven't heard that at all.
But
It'd be.
I understand. Yes, it'll help you decide quicker, but it doesn't sound good for asset management if that was an actual quote is what I mean.
Look, I've never seen the quote, so I can't say it was or wasn't. So all I know is that he's not signed, and this doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. They signed a PTO as well, Aston Reese. Minor thing, but I mean, depth move. If he works out, great. If he doesn't, they'll just move off from him anyway. But what's interesting, of course, as we both know, and everybody who's watched the NHL's offseason, is Toronto's goaltending. Now, I heard an interesting rumor that I found, or I was reading from, is that there's a possible plan B for goaltending, especially into next year. If things don't go well, there's talk that Connor Hellebuck might be the target for Dubas in Winnipeg, because I believe, I'll check cap friendly, I believe Hellebuck is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, but I'll just double check that right.
So the quote I did
so he has one more year. Sorry, he has one more year, 6.1.
Yeah. So I did find the quote, and it was from Sportsnet, actually. If there's going to be an offer sheet, the sooner the better, so we can make our decision and move on.
I've never heard that, but if you want to send me that quote, that'd be great. Yeah. But that's interesting. I'd like to read that later. But
I wasn't really a fan of that because it doesn't sound well for asset management if he's thinking that way.
He could have said that off the cuff too. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what he's actually going to, because we all know these GMs will say one thing and do something sometimes completely the opposite.
Yeah.
The deal's already signed and good to go. But I mean, I have warm feelings for my team this year. I think they're going to do fine. The goaltending will be my only question mark. If Samsonov, I mean, will be the guy that I think he is the guy they want to be. I think it's him, not Murray, of course. I'm not sure. I still am not sure after all this time in the summer. I still can't figure out why they went after this guy. I don't get it.
I think
what it was.
I'm wondering for you guys if Samsonov is also a stopgap for Wall, because I've heard Wall is going to be your future for goalie.
Yes, Wall has been a guy that's been touted for a little while. Now, I watched him play in Belleville not long ago. Anyway, he's a good goaltender. I mean, we watched him play obviously in the NHL a couple games, and he played fairly well. But
I've heard that he's there's the stopgap for him. They're waiting for him to be ready, and he's very close apparently.
Yeah, no, they have enough goaltending depth in the system that they need to find out soon if this guy's ready or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not saying they're going to rush him, but the thing is, if Samsonov ends up coming around and actually playing like Washington thought he was going to play and actually play really well, which I still don't understand why they got rid of him. But anyway, I know they replaced him with Kemper, but still, he's a young man. Like, why? He's only 25 years old. Like, you don't give up on a guy like this. Like,
especially
and he's not a small.
Goalies
and he's you don't.
Goalies
give up
are 29. Guys. Some of them. Sometimes it's 29 before they hit their stride.
Jack Campbell. Look at him. But I know that Samsonov, if he works out what I hope, he'll probably get the bulk of the starts. I don't know if Murray will, because as I've said before, the injury will happen. We all know it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen.
I guarantee they're both in the first 10 games. They're going to be split 5-5 to see who's the man.
I don't know if that works though. Wouldn't you just like give a hot goalie the hot hand and let him go and then see the next guy later? Like, like Murray's coming in on kind of a handicap right now because of all his injuries and the negative view about him. Like,
do you risk him sitting cold and being more susceptible to injuries? The other question.
Oh, I'm not saying he's not going to play. I'm
saying I know, but I'm saying game form and practice form are so different.
Oh, I understand that, but what I'm saying is that would you rather? If Samsonov goes, say, in the first 5 games, he goes 5-0 or 4-1, then you bring in the other guy and he starts going and he only goes 1-3, and then Samsonov comes back and then he's 4-5. You know what I mean? Like you had a hot goalie. Like, so, I mean, GMs and coaches, they have their tactics, right? As we all know, some like a hot goalie, some of them do the tandem thing, some of them, they have different ways about it. I for one, I like the who's got the hotter hand plays until he cools off, and then
I just feel both of them are kind of are a tandem to begin with because they haven't really established as number ones fully yet. Yes, Murray has 2 Stanley Cups, but Fleury helped with both of those. I don't care what anyone says.
No, and that's understood. Like, I mean, that we absolutely. But I don't know. I think Toronto's eye is more on Samsonov than Murray, but Murray's there, so he's a veteran presence. If he gets hot and he does play well, then all the better for the Maple Leafs. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be very interesting, but we'll absolutely cover the NHL in depth as the season gets closer.
Especially training camp starting in like a week.
Yeah, training camp's around.
Actually,
yeah,
4 days. 4 days.
Yeah, I know. It's around the corner, so that'll become, as everyone will see, that'll become one of our other focuses later on.
Habs are actually traveling to Pittsburgh or Buffalo for the rookie tournament.
I haven't followed the preseason and the practices and all that, the camps opening yet, but again, we will get into that. Mm-hmm. So I think what we'll do is there's one little piece of news I want to bring up. It's about the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, this caught my attention yesterday. So John Tortorella, he came out and he said in a presser that he has major concerns about his dressing room. Now, he's not going to choose a captain until the dressing room has been resolved. Now, we all know Mr. Tortorella is a very fiery coach. And I mean, I don't mind Tortorella personally in terms of what he brings, because I think he brings, checks and balances to a team like that. I mean, yes, he could be a little much, but I think there is problems in there. I think that he does need to fix it up. What do you think?
Tortorella is many things. But there's a lot of things I dislike about that man. But the way he coaches is next level. And when he says there's concerns, I like that because he's very, very big in accountability.
Yes.
And the Flyers have zero accountability. It's always blame this guy. Okay, it's his fault. That's what we're going to go with for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Well,
that's how, and he's not a person who's I play the blame game. It's if we lose, we lost altogether. It wasn't just him or him. It's all about accountability.
Yeah. Chuck Fletcher clearly felt that this guy was necessary to improve the team because clearly there was a problem. Like the Flyers were touted as an early favorite to be a good playoff team and all this, and it just didn't happen. They have a lot of young teams. They have a lot of players too, young players. They have lots of young players. And they just can't get it going.
It shows me there's a problem when your captain says, I'm out. Yeah. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. When Giroux leaves, that's not good.
And that's a captain who said, I love it here. I never want to leave. What happened?
He goes to Florida. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he wanted out like something fast.
As soon as the opportunity came, he was like, get me out of here. So clearly the management is upside down.
Well, there's problems. There's clearly issues with the team. Team can't get it going in the dressing room. Either there's issues with the messaging or whoever is kind of the leadership group of the players clearly isn't the right mix. Obviously, with Tortorella coming in, he's got a very strong opinion about certain players. Now, I had just one quick note. I did have a ton of respect for him whenever Keefe got beaten by Columbus. Now, he beat him. Like, his team beat his team. Like, Tortorella was coaching Columbus. And he came out after because, Keefe was, I'm one of them. I can freely admit. I was tough on Keefe, too. Simple that. But after looking back in hindsight's 2020, he clearly, it was his first major playoff, and let's give him a little bit of runway. Anyway, Tortorella came out and basically defended him because he played for Tortorella, I believe, in Tampa Bay. And he said, like, this guy is one of the best coaches up and coming. Please please give him the respect, and he just defended him right to the end. And I thought
by experience. That's it. That's all. The experienced coach destroyed him.
Yeah, and Toronto was up a few games in that series, and it didn't happen, and they still didn't win. But thing was, they should have beat him, and they didn't. But yes, he was beaten by a veteran coach. And what I like about Tortorella is that he gave the kudos to Keefe. So
honestly, the last couple of years with the playoffs with the Leafs, he's been outcoached by the experienced guys who's won the cup. That's the other thing. Like, they've all won the cup, the guys you've lost to in the last few years in the first round.
Isn't that something?
Every single one of them. When you think about
That's just crazy.
Tortorella, Julien, Cooper.
Yeah, I know. It just blows my mind. The only one. Yeah, the only one. Well, no. Now the only one is Colorado.
Yeah,
Colorado won, but Toronto didn't play them. So
no, I'm just saying, like, you guys lost to Trotz, you guys lost to Tortorella, you guys lost to Julien, and you lost to Cooper.
Right, but this year it was Cooper was, well, we lost last year to Cooper, and he won last year.
No, I know. I don't mean like in that season. I'm just seeing every season that he's been in the playoffs, it's been against an experienced Stanley Cup winning coach, one of the best coaches of the league every time.
And one of them has won a cup.
And they all have won Jack Adams, I think, too.
That I don't know.
Yes.
I know. Yeah. You believe? Yeah. Okay.
Trotz has one.
Yeah. I know Trotz has one.
Yeah. Julien has one with Boston.
Right.
Torts won in Tampa. And
okay.
There you go.
Anyway, so the other thing, so that's basically where, for that little piece of news with the Flyers, so just to take care of that. Now, quick little honorable mentions. I don't have a banner for that, but I'll make it anyway. We'll just talk quickly about the Ottawa Senators, and then we'll move on to the Jays. So the Ottawa Senators have had probably one of the most impressive off seasons I've ever seen in a Canadian in a long time. I'm saying Toronto or other teams that were rebuilding, but I mean, sadly, Mr. Melnyk passed on, and then for whatever reason, all of a sudden, it seems like Mr. Drouin can just like freewheel and deal, and he's locked up almost every major star he has. He's got a core now. He's got actually a contending core now. That is one impressive offseason, I have to say. What do you think?
Oh, he's done an excellent job. Very excellent job. I'm curious. He's got here's the difference between you and Toronto right now, though. He's got 4 locked up at 8, where you got 3 locked up at 10. So you're both in the same boat now.
Yes, but the thing is, they're still, a few years behind us, right?
Yes, but I'm saying salary cap-wise, it's going to catch up to them if that cap doesn't go up large. Because
it's supposed to, but yes.
I know, but with those 4 guys locked up for 8, and then, yes, it's early, but Jake Sanderson, who's supposed to be a star, will need a deal in 3 years.
Oh no, they have players still to sign. Yeah. Like it's not a
DeBrincat's still not locked either, but still, like, that team right now, on paper, it's a playoff team, 100% on paper.
Right.
But let's see how they work together.
Well, the crazy part is, like, I'm looking at Cap Friendly right now, okay, and next year they only have Alex Formenton. He's an RFA right now. Their defense is completely locked up. They have everybody taken care of. They've got their goaltending. They have Cam Talbot and Forsberg. And I mean, they have one guy left to sign.
He's not going to cost that much right now.
No. And I mean, their cap spaces, they still have $7 million in cap space. You know what I mean? Like, they're in really good shape right now. Like, and these are friendly deals. Like, Kachuk's 8.2, Josh Norris 7.9.
I do remember Melnyk saying, when he did this whole internal cap thing, saying, when we are back to being back to full of prospects and depth, I will allow the team to spend again. So I don't know if it was his last wish to unlock the bank, or because he's gone, the bank has been unlocked. It's one or the other.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on what
I do find it funny still, though, with Pierre Maguire, because soon as Melnyk was gone, he was gone. Yeah. So clearly that was 100% Melnyk signing.
Oh, you could see it. And I mean, Pierre Maguire, I mean, we all know what his story is. So anybody who's followed
apparently
NHL
he used to argue and disagree with Dorian on everything. That was the biggest concern.
Sure it was. I mean, look at him whenever he was a reporter with TSN. He was the same way. Anyway,
I don't know what you're talking about. It's only my word, not yours. They're a playoff team, but there's going to be a lot of competition still in the Eastern Conference. There's a lot of good teams in the Metro Division as well.
Their goaltending is still my thing.
Talbot's very good, though. He's very good.
Talbot's older, and Talbot, but he only got a year. I mean, they didn't sign him long term, so
I think he's more of a role model for Forsberg. It seems they have high hopes on Forsberg, and Mads Søgaard, who's in the minors, is supposed to be the big thing for them coming up for goaltending.
Okay, so that's probably what's happening here.
It's a stopgap.
Another stopgap idea. Okay. All right. Well, let's move away from the NHL. We're good there at the NHL. Let's move on to the Jays. We'll do a quick little spot about the MLB. And so as of right now, the Jays are in a solid playoff spot right now. They are rolling along quite well. They are now 8-2 over their last 10, and they have won 2 in a row. So they have had a hot bat with Bichette. Bichette is he's hit 4 out of 5 homers or 5 homers in the last 5 or 6 games in a row. Like, he's got a
terrible bench him.
Yeah, Why are they playing him? Like, honest, no. Let's be honest. He's doing well. Like, and you were talking now. What were you saying about? What did you see about Guerrero? What did he do? Did you say
Oh
he
my
threw
gosh.
like a wicked throw, like behind his arm or behind his back?
The play I called the play of the game. I can't remember who was pitching, but anyway, he threw it in, and the batter hit it, but it was a grounder to first. He ran off the bag, slickly picked it up, and then tossed it to his hand, threw it behind his back to the pitcher running to first for the snag and the out. And it looked like second nature, like it was.
It was like just part of him. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just literally, here you go.
Yeah. And what else do you got? This is like normal.
What?
This is practice for me. You know?
Am I supposed to be impressed?
Yeah. It says here homer. Yeah. So Bo Bichette homered the 5th time in 4 games. So that's pretty great. I mean, and they edged the Rangers just recently. They won 4-3 on Friday night. And
that was the game I think that had happened.
Yeah, it was. I would have guessed.
It was Bo Bichette's 5th homer in 4 games.
Yeah. Oh, it's pretty awesome. I like Bo Bichette myself. I like their core. I like the Jays core. The moves they did in the trade deadline were helpful, I believe.
This time their trade deadline was much better. They didn't sell the farm on their deadline.
And here's the wild part, okay? So I believe before, a few episodes ago, we were talking. The Jays were what? 15 games behind, if I'm not mistaken? They were like a significant number.
Yankees were running away with the division.
I just checked. The Jays are 5.5. So that tells me the Jays have won almost double their games because, either you play your division rival, you get your full game, and then if you play anybody else, it's half a game, right? They would have had
fire.
But they always do in the second half, even whenever when Anthopoulos built those 2 years, those 2 teams. Both years, their second half, they were just running away with it. And again, I don't know if they're running away with it this year, but they're definitely playing great, much better baseball.
Even when Boomhauer was your GM or manager, same thing there. It was they were always
talking John Gibbons, everyone. But anyway, Boomhauer. Not anyway.
But even when he was in charge, they were still after deadline. Were always like the best team in the league, even though they were not going to the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
It's just whatever it is. They just turn it on at that deadline.
Yeah, like right now they stand at 77 and 60. I mean, I think it's after to that.
They're a game and a half behind Tampa for the first wild card spot.
Yeah, they are. Actually, they're half. They're half
one
a game.
Half
a game. No, they're 0.5.
Yes, half a game.
I'm checking right now on TSN. It's 0.5.
Yeah, half
and Tampa's it's just incredible. Like, and they're 77-60. Like I said, they've got a run differential of plus 66 now.
Look at the plus 200. The Yankees.
Oh, I know. When you have that much firepower, I mean, come on, like, but yet they're still only 5.5 back. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Will they catch them? I doubt it.
I don't think so. But there's not enough games.
I don't think, it's not enough games. But the thing is, it's been fun to see them do it. And I mean,
here's the thing, though. They could pull off the first wild card spot, which gives them an even better playoff position.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And I mean, and look, they're doing well. Like, I'm very pleased with how they've turned. Like, they've done. They were not, their start wasn't as great, but all of a sudden they've just come right around. And
they're going to I remember they were talked about so highly this season. And then the start of the season was like, what is happening? And they finally got their groove and their momentum back and their mojo, and it's working.
Well, I mentioned that in one of the episodes. I said that like prominent pundits of baseball were saying the Jays are a World Series contender, and I'm like, and I'm like, okay, that's high. That's pretty big. That's a pretty big prediction for a team that was one win out or 1 point out of the playoffs last year. They almost made it, but they had one game and they couldn't do it.
That's the beauty of baseball, though. You can finish last 1 year and the next year be the best team in baseball. It just goes that way.
Well, they are definitely. I think they're going to make some noise this year.
Their division is unreal. I have to say, like Altogether, Boston is only 5 games from being a 500 team. How many times do you see a division that's completely 500 almost?
Not many.
That's a strong division.
Yeah,
like
it's
that's
hard.
not.
It's hard.
There's no
Even
question.
Baltimore's playing well.
That's what I'm saying. Like Baltimore's only a couple games out of a wild card spot.
Yeah, I know. Baltimore currently is 4.
4 games.
But you got the usual. You got Tampa, Toronto, Seattle, Baltimore, right? Yeah. And then of course,
and the Sox is
the Sox are kind of the Sox are kind of out there, but they'd have to win.
Though. The Sox are always fighting for that wild card or division spot, like out of nowhere. You think they're terrible or whatever, and they're still there.
Even the Twins are 7.5. Now, I mean, that's a reach, but I'm just saying both of them are a reach. But you never know, right? I mean, anything can happen. But
one team could flop, and then here's a prime example: Seattle's lost 2 in a row.
Well, that's it. Well, it depends on who they're playing, right? If they're playing division rivals, then that hurts even more.
Well,
right?
It's even the worst when you're coming up to the end of the season and it's mostly division rival matchups, and especially it's worse if that team has been owning you all season.
Well, I actually heard from someone just recently who's very was with watched a lot of baseball, and they're saying that starting next season, there's going to be a lot more interleague play. They're going to be changing.
Yes, yes, everyone's supposed to play each other twice from now on.
They're going to change it up so there's more interleague play.
A home and a home. They want to do.
Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyway, I heard that and I thought, okay.
Because in the NHL, they see it works. Hey, we could sell more tickets because teams that don't play this team very often are there.
But to think that the New York Mets could not play the New York Yankees a little more, wouldn't that be something? Have another Subway Series a little better instead of the World Series all the time?
Absolutely. Well, like in the NHL, when it was like, oh, Toronto will be playing Anaheim, and it's the first. They haven't beat them since 1995. How many times they played? 4 times. That's not even a good stat.
It's a terrible stat. It's a terrible stat.
Why are you bringing this up?
Yeah, exactly. So
that's
anyway,
how it was, though, for a long time.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And then the MLB needs that. So, and that's where they're going to go.
But the MLB is going very progressive, as you've seen. Like, there's full DH now, an extra wild card spot. Like, they're understanding that it's kind of repetitive seeing the same 2 teams in the playoffs every time.
Yeah, and baseball needs change. Like any sport, it's always good to revamp it every once in a while and give it a little more fresh. So I think what we'll do now, Typhoon, we'll move on to our last segment, which is going to be the NFL, which is basically our big step here. So as you can see, I'm wearing my Green Bay jersey, a Rogers jersey, of course. And so week 1 has begun, everybody. So happy to see the NFL back up and running again. I did not
expect the Rams to get crushed. I expected a much closer game.
Well, let's talk about that game. Like, what did you say to me? You said at the job to me that there was it one team only had 4 starting guys in that practice and everyone else sat?
The Rams only had 4 guys in the lineup that played any preseason game.
Right. All the rest of them were sitting. They all played
because they didn't want to risk injury.
And they lost the game. They lost 31-10. Now, I'm not going to take any away from Buffalo. Buffalo played a great game. And Allen
is incredible.
I love watching that guy. He's good. Again, I'm a Rodgers fan, but
it's really weird saying the Buffalo Bills are a good team. It's really, really weird to say it.
Let's be fair to the Buffalo Bills. I've had such tough luck over the last long time that finally they may actually have a season or 2 or a number of seasons coming up that actually will be meaningful and actually very enjoyable. Like, I enjoyed watching that game. It was very good.
I haven't seen this good since Jim Kelly, and even then was so unlucky for them.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they
went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row and lost.
Yeah, and the Bills are going to be a great team this year. It's going to be a fun team for the city to watch. And good for
everyone's going to enjoy this.
Yes, and good for the Bills. Now, I mean,
what's
what happens.
Crazy though? Stafford threw for 240 yards and only managed 1 touchdown.
Oh, I know. Oh, it's crazy. Like, he had a really good game.
297 yards, 26 for 31, 3 TDs, and 2 interceptions. Still, it didn't hurt them.
Game 1, yeah. Week 1, unreal, phenomenal. Didn't
help Stafford. He threw 3.
Right. Stafford didn't have as good a
I
game.
heard Akers got blasted by the coach.
Yes, I just read that actually on the
He only played 12 plays because he was so bad.
Yeah, so Coach McVay Sean McVay says here that in the NFL.com I'm reading here that Akers limited snaps on opener. Cam's got to maximize his opportunities. So with the coach saying that, that's basically saying, look, man, you got to play better in what you're doing. Like,
we're not good. Do something about this.
We need you. You're yes. a vital part of our team. Okay,
you are a key member of this team.
Exactly. So that's basically.
I have no qualms with the coach saying that at all because
Sean McVay's a young coach. Yeah,
but you need your best players to be at their best.
Absolutely. A new deal was signed today. Looks like Darren Waller, tight end with the Raiders, who I've had in my pool a number of times. Excellent player. I always made sure to draft him when I could. Anyway, he signed a 3-year extension, $51 million.
Mega mulas.
Good for him. According to the NFL Network Insider, his new contract will earn him $19.2 million, fully guaranteed at signing, and a base value of $25 million over the next 2 seasons, including the $2.55 million in active roster bonuses.
So does that mean his final season is only $1 million?
Adds the rest of the deal is non-guaranteed, with Waller earning $12 million in 2024, $13 million in 2025, and $15 million in 2026. But that's not guaranteed. So he's guaranteed.
The first 50 is guaranteed.
It says he'll earn them 19.25 is the first guaranteed.
Okay.
Good.
That's still a very good guarantee.
He also has a $250,000 Pro Bowl incentive each year. So
if he makes the Pro Bowl, he gets that bonus.
He gets extra $250K a year. That's quite the contract. Pretty much. For a good down payment on a nice car. Yep. A very fast car. So
McLaren F1.
Yeah. So that was the new deal that came up. Now you mentioned something about Lamar Jackson to me earlier before we started. What did you see?
Lamar Jackson had set a specific deadline for him and the Ravens. Yes, yeah. And it was for yesterday to have a contract done.
Right.
Now that has not happened.
Okay.
And apparently talks have gotten very stale.
Right.
So there's a good chance that he could be a free agent this summer.
That's a name. That's a big name to be a free agent.
And
now,
a lot of teams need a quarterback.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure his team is going to sign him. Baltimore,
I think so,
right?
too.
Yeah. Baltimore.
And apparently with his contract, it's the 5th-year option of his rookie contract. He'll be paid $23 million this year.
Yeah. Baltimore, yeah. So, yes, that's pretty crazy, man. And you know what? A lot of teams, including your team, would salivate to get this guy.
Oh, well,
imagine the Steelers picked him up.
Division for sure. Could you imagine if he came to our team in the same division?
And Lamar Jackson signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Imagine
him and Kenny Pickett.
That's a coup, man. Like that's serious stuff. That would happen. Now I don't know if it's going to happen. It's completely. It's just talk, but as in our speculation.
The big news when Joe Hayden first came to the Steelers back a few years ago, that was a coup because he went from the Browns, the Browns to Pittsburgh rivalry.
Right. Interesting.
There was some angry people. There was some angry.
Oh, I bet. Boy, not happy. Let's put it that way. Not happy at all. I don't know. I think what we could do now, if you want, what we'll do is we'll kind of go through quickly.
I was going to ask you, what do you think of week 1, Saints versus Falcons?
Well, actually, what I was going to do is, I have the NFL.com up, and I was going to go through each team, and we just give a quick view of what we think, and then we'll wrap the show up there, wrap up the episode there.
Sounds good to me, man.
So, New Orleans versus Falcons. Now,
yes,
they don't have their coach because he's gone. Peyton's gone.
They both don't have a quarterback. They both retired, didn't they?
Breeze is gone, and Breeze has been gone for.
Yeah, who is the quarterback now? Anyway,
I don't know. It's a good question.
I'll have to look that up after.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. At Atlanta,
I'm. You know what? I'm not going to count the Saints out. They still have good offense. I'm going to say the Saints for that one. I think the Falcons are still building something again.
I think they're. I would say if I were to lean on this opinion again, I'm these teams I'm not as familiar with, so I'm not going to sound like I know exactly how they're going to do and count myself as an expert of these teams. But I think I would say definitely New Orleans would be the team I would.
I'm going to
bet
go with
on.
the Saints. They don't have their coach, but you can't tell me the game plan isn't the same, and that the coordinators, the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator, don't know the game plan.
Right.
That's the thing. They can implement the game plan as long as they have the playbook. So it doesn't really matter if the coach is there or not. I don't think.
They actually just signed Eric McCoy, according to this.
Oh wow!
To a 5-year extension, $63 million. I just read that just quickly.
That's good for them
because I'm checking them out here. But anyway, yeah, I think they're going to be. I think it's going to go. My opinion would be probably New Orleans. I mean, you're in a football pool, correct?
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, right there, that would tell you kind of what's leaning or what's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, this game, I'll go with the next one. Cleveland versus Carolina.
Ooh.
Oh, you
know what? I'm not counting out the Panthers. They got quarterbacks now. They could throw the ball.
They have Baker Mayfield.
Yes, and he's starting, by the way.
Oh, there would be no doubt. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Of course, he probably requested as soon as he got the trade. As soon as he
and I bet your coach laughed and said, "Absolutely."
Oh yeah. Why wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going with the Panthers on that game. I'm going to be honest.
Panthers? I'm all Panthers on that one. To be honest,
what do you think of the?
I think Mayfield's going to have the game of his life. I think he's going to have a great game.
I think so.
I think he's going to have a great game.
What do you think of the Eagles and Lions?
Eagles and Lions. Eagles, just because it's
That's not even a question.
It's just Detroit. That's all I have to say. Their quarterback. I don't know who their quarterback is now, but I'm sure he's running for his life too. Just like
it's the Rams' old quarterback. Who is that? It was Goff.
Oh yeah. Goff. Don't get me started with that guy. Okay, so just so everyone understands, and I played a few football NFL pools for a couple of years, about 3 or 4 years. I'm not in one this. Anyway, Jared Goff is a guy I chose a couple times because obviously
Goff's to get paid,
which was one of my pool names. Anyway, long story short, every single time I played this guy in my pool, that week he played, he got like 3 points. Then I had my other starter quarterback who was should be just as good. He gets me great, and Goff has more points than he does the weeks I don't play him. So every time I played him, he never played right. He always had no points.
I hated that. I hate that in all pools when there's a guy that does that, and then you just drop him, and then he's amazing for somebody
And then
else.
he's like outstanding. How do you do that?
And then you bring him back, and he's useless.
Just a quick note, that one was a tough year. My other quarterback here, but we'll go into a pool thing later. But anyway, just Goff is I am not a Goff fan. Okay. So, but I'm going Philly on that just because of that reason.
I'm going Philly because it's Detroit Lions.
Okay, yes. Chicago versus San Francisco.
I'm going San Fran right away.
Me too. Garoppolo, yeah. Garoppolo.
Bears, 100%. You don't know which way they're going to run, throw, and kick. You don't know what they're going to do, ever.
Exactly. It's not a team that I've ever cared for. My father's a big Bears fan. He loves that team. And he always has a hard time. Every year he has a hard time.
The only thing I loved about the Bears was the old SNL skit. The Bears.
Yeah.
Chicago.
George went whenever he used to come and do it.
And Chris Farley.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What's wrong? I'm just having a heart attack. I'm good. It's done. He goes, how many is that? Oh, it's a baker's dozen.
Yeah. San Francisco, absolutely the winner on that. My opinion, they'll win that one.
Colts and Texans. I'm going to go with the Colts because they seem to always have a decent team.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they usually are. They're right there, but again, I don't have much of an opinion.
I don't know what the Texans have anymore since J.J. Watt is no longer there.
Yeah, and it's week 1, right? We don't know what's going to happen, really. I mean, but I'll go Houston on it just because I don't know. I've seen the Texans. They usually play fairly well, but we'll see how they manage with that big Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Your team. What do you think?
Well,
Trubisky versus against the Bengals.
Well, I love my Steelers. I really do, but I honestly don't think we're a playoff team yet. I don't think we'll win this game.
No, I don't think so either. I think the Bengals are going to continue to ride from their playoff high from last year.
I have a feeling Trubisky is going to be. Well, they said Trubisky's starting. I have a feeling he's going to. I have a feeling he's going to start roughly six games or so. It's just because they want Kenny Pickett to hold the clipboard and learn the plays. They did this before with Ben when Cordell Stewart was on his way out.
Right.
They brought in another quarterback who can fill in a few games, and he won't. I don't think he'll be terrible as a Pittsburgh Steeler, but it's Trubisky. Everyone knows Trubisky.
Well, why would you put that stress and pressure on Pickett anyway? It's not necessary. No, you have a guy who can play. Now, I don't know how well he could play, but he
yes. And Kenny Pickett showed in the preseason that he might actually be something special in a year or two. So let him learn a little bit before he dives in. It doesn't bother me any, and I prefer it because this team, they showed without Ben they can't do anything. So they need a couple more guys who could throw the ball.
You guys have adjustments. You have some rebuilding to do. No question.
Their defense is unreal. Don't get me wrong, but the offense still needs a little work.
Next one is Miami versus New England. I'm going Miami, and I say Miami.
Count out Belichick. I really
no. I'm not counting him out, but I just think with Tyreek Hill now there, he's got something to prove, and I think he's going to have a great game.
I think,
and their quarterback is
What is it, Tua Vaglia for the
Dolphins? That's Miami's quarterback.
He needs to show up this season because I think this is a make or break year for him.
Well, he had the one quarterback. I was told by a big Dolphins fan actually that the other wide receiver he had quite the year last year. So now he's got two weapons to throw to. So I think the Miami Dolphins are going to be pretty good this year. I don't think they're going to be a bad team. And honestly, in my opinion, the Dolphins should be a contender every year because they've been such a storied franchise for so long. That's just my view.
After Marino, after Marino, it was over for them for how long?
I know, and there was no reason for it because I think Miami is one of the biggest cities in North America. It's a very popular area that most people go to. I mean, if I was an NFL player, Miami would certainly be on my list just because of the nice weather and all that stuff. So I think Miami, I'm going to go Miami on that game. I think New England will give them a fight, but I think Miami's going to beat them.
Yeah. What do you think of the Commanders and the Jaguars?
I'm not there yet with that name. It's not there. I'm still Washington football team still sounds better right now.
WFT?
So, instead of WTF. Yeah. Now it's WTF. The Commanders versus the Jacksonville.
Jags.
I think Jags. I'm going to go them.
I think Jags. I don't think Washington's a good team at all.
Well, no. When they have their big quarterback they landed last in the draft there a couple years ago. Lawrence. He's on I think he's on the Jags, and they have a good team. They're going to win. I could say it. And I mean, here's another one: Baltimore versus the Jets.
Oh, Baltimore by far.
Or Jets fans. I mean,
what is with those like New York teams? I don't understand. Like the Jets, the Giants, the Bills were there for a while, but now it's the Jets. But the Jets have been stuck there since Mark Sanchez.
I don't get them. I don't get them at all. Again, another storied franchise. A team that should not have a bad team. Period. No. That organization should be good every year. It's a New York City franchise.
I 100% agree. There's money there.
It's a fun city, a fun area. People go there.
Well, I never knew this until like a few years ago, but them and the Giants use the same stadium, eh?
MetLife Field?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. So that's those guys.
Chiefs and Cardinals.
Chiefs and Cardinals. I'm going to go Chiefs, of course, because it's Mahomes.
Never counting out Patrick Mahomes. That's my quarterback in my pool, by the way.
Mahomes. Even if they lost Tyreek Hill, he's still got lots of guys he could throw to. And
even after Tyreek Hill left, he was still throwing to weapons. It didn't matter.
No, he's still good. He's Mahomes. I'm Mahomes all the way on that one, no question. Another one, Giants versus Tennessee. I'm going Tennessee. Tennessee, yeah, I think so. Giants are another funny outfit to me.
Here's the potential division top two teams in the division: Vikes and Packs.
That's gonna be a fun game to watch. But they're always fun.
I honestly think you guys will win the division because honestly, your division is so poor, so poor.
It's weak. Yes.
And
There's
the
no
only team
question.
that'll give you a run is the Vikings, but I don't see them being a 14-3 team. At best they're 11-6 at best.
I think Green Bay is going to take the division. I think they have, even with losing Devontae, I still think they're going to have lots of guys to go to. And of course, it's Rodgers because
You still have Aaron Rodgers.
He's starting his 18th year.
Yep.
What an impressive stat.
Storied career.
Oh
what
my
NFL,
God.
No NFL player has 18 seasons. They're all injured before that.
Unless your name is Tom Brady, that's about it.
Or
right?
John Elway.
Yeah, the greats, right?
Yeah.
So, I think Green Bay is going to crush Minnesota. That's my opinion. Another game I think is going to be very interesting to watch is Vegas versus the Chargers. I think Vegas is going to give the Chargers a run.
I think Vegas will.
I think they're going to win.
The Raiders? I think
the Raiders are going to win.
Yeah.
Raiders are going to win that
absolutely.
game.
Raiders are a contender this year, by far.
Yep. Yeah. Well, at first, a few episodes, you were
Carr and Adams.
Too old. Now, I know you said before in a previous episode that it may not be the same because time has passed, but I don't think so. I think these guys are going to be a dynamic duo. Carr's a good quarterback.
Yes.
He's good.
He doesn't get enough credit.
He's underrated. He's an underrated guy. Underrated. 100%.
And the last Sunday game is the Bucks and Cowboys.
Bucks, of course, Mr. Brady. Can't count. I mean, he's the man. So.
I don't know. He's going through some marital stuff. Maybe it's in his head.
He's going through marital stuff? Is he?
After he agreed to play one more season, Gisele Bundchen left the country.
Is she?
She was
She's
so
gone?
mad.
I didn't know that.
She left the country. She was so mad.
Okay. I'll have to check out on that and read up on that.
They argued. Apparently, she had a huge argument with him, and she left the country. Didn't just leave.
But he retired, right?
Yes, he was supposed to stay retired, but he didn't. She was pissed.
Maybe she had plans. I mean, it's all speculation on our part, but anyway. Well, that does it. Those things that can happen, but anyway, interesting.
Then the Monday game: Seahawks and Broncos.
Wilson versus Seattle. How weird does that sound? How messed
I can't even picture him in a Broncos jersey. I can only picture him in green and blue.
Well, I was reading about this game, and they said obviously the big storyline is that, but it's an arms race in that division now. You've got the Raiders, you got Denver, and you got Seattle. And they've got all these teams in there. They're all retooling to fight each other. Like
Denver's biggest hole was no quarterback. They fixed that very quickly.
They fixed that problem. Then you've got the Raiders who had not many to throw to, and they go out and get Devontae Adams, right? And they have other players, of course, they have. And now they've got Waller signed, and now they've got, other guys that are locked in. And then Seattle, I mean, what does Seattle have? Who's their quarterback now?
I don't even know.
No, like they don't have their star anymore. So, and you told me that they thought, was it he was going to sign and then he ended up not?
Yeah, something like that. It was. I think he was unhappy or something.
Something went. Anyway,
I'd have to look up the full story, but there was something about him being unhappy about something. Yeah.
Well, he didn't sign, so he ended up going to Denver. So pretty good. Now that's a pretty sweet lineup for tomorrow and Monday. I think it's going to be a very good year. Now, I want to ask the question, anyone, who's going to win the Super Bowl? And this is what I'm going to do. So just give me a sec here. I'm going to type in, get your opinion. I'll get mine.
Oh, that's who it is. Their QB's Drew Lock, the draft pick there.
Yes, that's okay. There we go.
He's supposed to be very good, Drew Lock.
Okay, so I have two questions I'm going to bring up before we stop for the night, for the day.
Sure.
So, who's going to win the Super Bowl is question number one. I want your thought. I'll give you mine. And the second one was, who is the biggest surprise? We'll start with who's going to win. Who do you think's going to? I mean, super duper early, but
I am not counting the Chiefs out. I'm sorry. They're still, to me, one of the best teams in football.
Chiefs.
Mahomes is another level in the playoffs. We saw it in that Bills game where Josh Allen would have beat anybody else. Anybody else.
What a game. I mean,
other team would have been just trampled in that game. But Patrick Mahomes just said, hold my beer.
Hold my Gatorade. Yeah. And okay, so you say Mahomes, so you say
Yes.
KC. Okay.
I've never seen a quarterback like him in a long time.
Well, I mean,
He's Tom
obviously,
Brady in his like young days.
he's the next generation guy, right? Now, an all-around team who can make it. I think KC is one of them. My gut feeling, early impressions, I would say probably not my team. Green Bay, I don't think.
I don't see you guys going far in the playoffs this year, to be honest. I see
Too
you
early
making
to say.
I
I
see
think
you
it's too
making the
early to
playoffs. I
say.
see you making the playoffs for sure, but I don't know what you're going to do against other competition yet because
Yeah.
it's the problem is playing such weak teams all the time doesn't help benefit a team when they have to go against the good guys.
Well, I mean, we've seen it ourselves, right? We've watched the teams that when they play in the playoffs, they struggle, right? They can't
Yes.
beat these teams they should beat. But anyway, KC, you're thinking? I'm thinking. I'm just looking at the names here and looking at what I'm thinking that could do it. Yeah, KC, I think would be probably my choice too. I mean,
The
or the
only team I think
Bills, or the Bills,
that's the only
or
team
the
that can
Bills,
stop them, and they're in the same. They're going to play each other. They're
or the Bills.
guaranteed going to play each other.
I
There's no
think
way
maybe. Yeah.
there's no way that championship game isn't going to be them.
Yeah.
Apologize, folks. So we're back, and
Sorry about
Typhoon
that,
just
guys. Just little technical difficulties here.
anyway, so you're thinking Super Bowl, you're saying KC. I would definitely put them as the one I would believe. I think also Buffalo would be another contender. I'm also going to throw Vegas in there as a possible team that could do some damage. My team too, Green Bay, I think will do some damage. I don't know how far they're going to go, but I would definitely put the front runner for KC currently today. I don't know about 6 weeks from now, but we'll see.
I wouldn't even count out San Fran, to be honest.
Nope, San Fran's a good team too. Now, biggest surprise team. Who do you
Surprise?
think's going to be the biggest surprise in terms of like, wow, okay, we didn't expect that kind of surprise. Not, oh wow, they're awful surprise. You know,
I think the Panthers could be that team with Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to do a lot more than people think.
okay, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, definitely. I don't think Cincinnati is going to be that. They were the surprise team last year.
Cincinnati and Cleveland were very surprises last year, but I don't see them. I don't see it happening this year. I see Baltimore running away. I really do.
Okay. Yeah, I think the biggest surprise team for me would be Vegas. To me, the surprise they're going to be a good team. I don't see Tampa or any of those other teams like that. Like
they don't have many weaknesses.
No, I think Vegas did a lot of good things, and I think another team that would be a surprise is Miami. I think they're going to have a good year this year too because of the fact that they've shored up another weapon into their arsenal now with Hill and with Tyreek Hill. So I think the two surprise teams. I know it said one surprise, but I'm going to go two. I think Vegas and Miami are going to be the two surprise teams this year. They're going to be they're going to have good years. I think.
Well, like I said, this is a very make or break year for Miami. I believe they have to be good this year because of how many years it's been bad, and they finally have some pieces, and it has to be a good year.
Oh, I think so. And I think it will be. So that's essentially it. So I think we'll close it off there. I think did you have a good summer, by the way, before we stop?
It was pretty good, yeah. It was very hot, which I'm not complaining about. It's been a very cold winter, so the heat was nice.
Yes, I had a great summer. Enjoyed my time and looking forward to the new sports year. So just a little quick rundown of what we're going to be doing for everybody. We're going to be basically we're going to try to aim for at least once a week an episode like we normally do. We're going to be trying,
and then a little weekender update or something.
Yeah, so we're going to try to average 2 videos / 2 audio portions for Spotify and all those platforms per week if we can. We're going to be focusing obviously on the Big 4, Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, and NHL, of course. So,
actually, I did want to say a quick thing today concerning the MLS. FC Montreal qualified for the playoffs for the first time in 6 years yesterday.
Wow, cool. Good for Montreal. They must be happy about that.
And they're sitting in 3rd place in the East as a contender this year too. So
good. That'll be also something we're going to focus a little on is obviously soccer. And also we're going to focus on a new segment we'll be bringing into is the local sports of where we are. So
yes,
we promised that at the beginning whenever we started this. So we're going to be gathering intelligence or intel from people and minor football. association in our city of Cornwall. We're focused on the Wildcats, of course. They're in the beginning of their NCAFA, which is the they have a number of different underage teams, and they're doing fairly well. Today is actually they're up in the Ottawa Red Blacks. It's Wildcats Day today. So they were up there this afternoon. And we'll focus on that. We'll see if we can get some local hockey news, anything else that's going on. But that's what we're going to be focusing on. So,
and I believe in November is the kickoff of the World Cup. So there will be a focus on some of the World Cup as well for soccer.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. We're going to bring that in too. So I think we're going to end it here. So thanks, Typhoon, of course. Thanks for coming. Thanks for getting back on. And we're going to do many shows to come. I hope everybody enjoyed this one. I hope everyone enjoys the remainder. We will see you next week in the next video. So
absolutely.
We will talk to you all soon. Have a good
week, you guys.
All right. Talk soon. Later, man.
Later.